Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. Hello, Internet, and welcome. It is Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for your weekly helping of Gaming Gumbo, your weekly gaming wrap-up podcast, where we go through whatever stories of the week we find interesting or, whatever. Give you our thoughts about the latest in gaming and go through all of it. If you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, do me a favor, take a second, please. Head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. Give the site a hit, obviously. That helps. And in the upper right-hand, it doesn't really help. I don't have ads on there because I like you too much. So, just visit it, Go visit it. Upper right-hand corner, all the socials, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all of it, Spotify. Follow, turn on notifications, sub, tell your friends. If you like what we do here and you want to see more of it, whether it's this show, whether it's the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy Square Enix podcast, or any of the streamers, including myself, come hang out. We'd love to have you. It's easy, it's free, and you can support us that way. That is ReadyCheckRadio.com, RAIDEO.com. We are 11 Twitch followers away from 500, and we all know what happens at 500. If you don't, start hanging out for a little bit of pre-show, but believe me, 3 people will not be looking forward to the stream when we hit the 500 mark. One of those people that will probably watch and just laugh at how dumb we are, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I don't know. I kind of never look forward to this stream.
Well, I mean, when you're watching 3 people suffer, you seem like the type of guy that would be into that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I enjoy human suffering, yeah.
Yeah, you do. Also on the line, Ready Check Radio resident artist Yod. What's up, sir?
Oh, the normal waiting for that day of watching the stream while you guys suffer.
Yeah, what do you got going on your tablet there? It looks like a Picasso. No, when I see in Discord, I can see it's not as abstract. Val kind of makes it look very abstract on the stream.
Right. It's artwork from one of my favorite artists, Steven Sejic. He does a bunch of stuff for Image Comics and did a stint on Rat Queens. He's got a book called Sunstone. His wife works on a bunch of books, and just really, really good artist. So I thought I'd switch up the screen every once in a while,
Looks sharp. Yeah, Mad Martha in chat. No, my rig is not on fire again this week. We were just talking about that pre-show, actually. It was a fog machine that my oldest son bought for a haunt that we want to do. And him and his mother thought it was funny. Yeah. I didn't. In the middle of a show, I didn't. Because I had no clue what was going on. Anyway. Blizzard's still doing its thing, getting sued. So we can move on by that. There's been some leadership changes there. We've talked about them. Nothing new since, J. Allen Brack was replaced. They have gone through and started to, in the next patch here, they're going to start removing certain people. And, maybe it would be a good idea going forward not to just name anything in your game off of actual people just in case they end up being douchebags. I'm just saying it might be good. If you're going to make a fictional game, whether you're Blizzard or not, let's keep the names fictional at this point. But there are leadership changes in some other bigger companies. Let's start with this one. Paradox Interactive has changed their CEO and chairman of the board. And in the most vague press release you could ever imagine, due to differing views on the company's strategy going forward, Paradox Interactive AB's CEO Ebba Ljunggren, it's a very Swedish name. I'm sorry.
Because we slaughter the names.
Ljunggren, we think? Ljunggren?
No, I think it's anyway.
There's a J in there, but that is very Swedish, very Nordic to do.
Yeah.
Has decided to leave the CEO position with immediate effect. The board of Paradox Interactive has appointed Frederick Wester, that one was substantially easier, as CEO with immediate effect. Ebba will stay for a period to ensure a good handover. And that's basically it, Jason. But they also did say, hey, Ebba's done a fantastic job.
Oh, sure.
Nothing wrong with her leadership. Player base and game projects have been strengthened and grown. Like the usual, hey, we love what she did, just not going forward. And we'll have
Just
to
not
see.
go forward.
Yeah, we love what
We love what she did, but not enough to keep her around.
Right, due to differing views on the company's strategy going forward. Like, how do you have a different strategy going forward? Like, if the three of us are in a game company, I think all of us, our strategy going forward would be, let's make another good game and sell it. Yeah, Mad Martha
That
had to
would be a good
correct.
strategy.
Ebba is in fact pronoun she. I
Yes.
can't imagine, and Paradox isn't like, EA, where there's 900 arms of that company, where it isn't just all about the next big title, right? Or they're not Xbox or Microsoft or Sony, where there's so many, do we put money into the TV portion of our business? Do we put money into the PlayStation portion of our business? It's Paradox Interactive. You make video games. You're a bigger company, granted, but at the end of the day, you make video games. So kind of maybe we just don't want you here anymore, Jason?
So here's what I looked up the last. I wanted to see if there's anything like in their last financial statement, which came out about a month ago. It was all about Q2. So first of all,
Did they do like super poorly? Because then that would make a little more sense.
Well, let me explain to you. First of all, let me talk about the numbers. This is from her statements that are attributed to Ebba. Revenues for the second quarter decreased by 13%, and profit before tax by 44% compared to the same period last year. For the last 12 months, revenues increased by 11%, while profit before tax decreased by 24% compared to a year earlier. So yeah, that's not good finances. Profit before tax reduced by 44% is not good, obviously.
Right, but
here's
their
what I think.
release schedule hasn't like been all that aggressive either.
Well, in fact, let me talk about the rest of what she said. One of the many unfortunate effects of COVID-19 is that the pandemic affects the pace at which we can develop and publish new content. Even though our growing player base lays a solid foundation for future growth, the number of releases in the past 2 quarters did not reach our level of ambition. Our growth is based on our ability to release high-quality games within the strategy and management segments that can be developed with new content over a long time. So, and I hate to read a ton into all of this because I'm not in the board meetings. I don't know why she isn't with them anymore, but she talks about, she says that the pandemic affected the pace at which we developed. We're trying to develop new content over a long time. We're laying a solid foundation. But last quarter was bad. So what I almost think, what I could see is a situation where the rest of the board or whoever else dictates who's the CEO, they say to her, hey, we need more games. We're not doing great. We need more games. We need them quicker. And she's like, yeah, but I want a long-term foundation. I don't want to rush stuff. I don't want to crunch our team, whatever. I don't want to release we don't release poor crap. Look at that last Europa Universalis expansion we talked about. That got like a 9% positive on Steam. I could see her saying, I don't want to do all that stuff just to make a quick buck for the next quarter, and them saying, okay, we'll find someone else who will.
Yeah, and maybe we're
That would be a
attributing,
different strategy.
maybe we're attributing altruistic views to Ebba that weren't there. Like you said, we don't know. We're not part of the board. We're not privy to those meetings or anything. Could have just been, somebody didn't like somebody, and as simple as that. You just don't know. But anytime profits are down, your board is going to question what you are doing, Yod, COVID or not.
Right. True. And we have heard a lot of the COVID excuse over the past couple years. And I mean, at this point, they should be, used to that kind of pace and the adjusting to working from home and all that stuff. And technically, the board should understand that. Once again, should. I find it a little amusing the amount of times that in that article that they stated removed immediately, replaced immediately.
Yeah.
Although she's still there for like 6 months or whatever.
Right,
but
handover
immediately
stuff.
she's no longer in that position.
Yeah, you're
even though
there,
she's
but
still
you're
there.
in a consulting position now.
Right.
Which is interesting because the Frederick Wester who's taking over is who she replaced as CEO in 2017.
Really?
This is coming back. Yeah, same guy.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm going to give you this. So here's a list of Paradox Interactive games. We're not obviously going to go through the whole thing, but I do want to look at their most recent ones because I think it's funny. Like, I know who this company is, and I'm familiar with some of their titles, not all of them, but some of them. But I'm going to be honest, it's been a while since I've played a Paradox Interactive game, apparently.
Not your thing.
Well, some of them are. Some of them are. So obviously the most recent Crusader Kings 3. Jason, you've played
Sure.
quite a bit of Crusader Kings 3.
Just a bit.
I have not. Yod, have you played Crusader Kings 3?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Prior to that, also in
Heathens.
2020, though, was Empire of Sin. Anybody play that?
Mm.
Nope. Surviving the Aftermath was their other 2020 title. Nope.
I didn't play that, but I've heard of it. I watched someone stream it once, but
Age of Wonders Planetfall 2019.
that I heard did not go over well.
Yeah,
I
that
played
did.
the original. I played last Age of Wonders, but yeah.
Imperator Rome.
Oh yeah, I played plenty of that, and that was not good either.
Another Surviving the Aftermath. BattleTech. Has been
I
ages.
know BattleTech.
Apparently, there was a 2018 BattleTech game. I haven't heard the name BattleTech for so long. Surviving Mars. Prior to that, Prison Architect, the mobile version. Steel Division Normandy, Hearts of Iron 4, Stellaris, Tyranny, City Skylines, and now we're back into 2015 at this point.
Yeah.
City
Took over
Skylines is the last Paradox Interactive game I spent substantial amounts of time in. So
Although, you know what?
2015 for me.
Now that I'm remembering too, what's the deal with Vampire Bloodlines 2?
Right. You know, that's
Also,
the biggie.
That's another part of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggie. And could certainly have played into changes at the top because of what we
Right.
believe is pretty much a clusterfuck at this point. Mad Martha, Frederick Wester, Wester, not Albert Wesker, which is why I assume you are asking in chat, who is replacing her? Thinking that Jason said Albert Wesker. No.
That would make it more interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be messing with Paradox anytime soon. I'm just you guys do what you want to do. On the flip side, another company making some changes. Daybreak, not technically Daybreak itself, although this does impact a particular person at Daybreak Games. And Enad Global 7, the company that, if you remember, purchased a multitude of companies very quickly, one of which was Daybreak Games and its, double fistfuls of subsidiaries, all of which spun up like a month and a half before they were bought. Oh, Fred West is an infamous UK serial killer. I'm going to go with different person. I'm going to go with probably a different person. So what's going on over here at Enid Global 7, Jason? Because this is a company that you don't play Daybreak stuff just because of the fiasco they have been basically for the last 2 years or so. Not just on the developmental front, but also we weren't purchased by Columbus Nova front, and just seemingly lying about where money was coming from and stuff. How much we can prove is very little, but whatever. So you've been avoiding them, but you were kind of looking forward to maybe getting back into PlanetSide too, here and there, and dabbling and playing a little bit, because Enid Global 7 was, seemingly very transparent and open and saying what was good and what sucked and what they wanted to do. But now they're making a head change real quick that causes me to scratch my own head a little bit.
Yeah, their CEO and co-founder, Robin Floden, was doing some really nice videos, almost like fireside chats where he discussed what they're doing and what they have plans for. And he's out now.
Gone.
Apparently he wasn't talking nicely enough or something. Something I've seen that I saw some people talk about is they're interesting with their financial statements. Like, I'm not smart enough to dissect them exactly. Of course, they always say we're doing great, we're making tons of money, everything's incredible. But they've maybe got some creative accounting in there that some people are looking at and saying, they're buying up everything, as you've mentioned before, so maybe it's not really doing that great. So maybe that's a part of it. And when the dust settles, maybe it's not actually as great as certain people would have liked it to be, and that's why Robin Floden is going to be gone.
It's just weird, because you would think, though, that's, unlike Paradox, you would think that that's an expected one. Hey, we expect to take an assets on hand hit, Yod, because we spent cash in acquisition this year that we haven't in years prior, and we did it
Right.
on a big scale. And nobody on the board of any company is going to be surprised by an acquisition, given that they require board approval to go ahead and pull the trigger for. So this one does seem a little weird to me. And then taking somebody from the newly purchased company, Daybreak, and having them as the interim person in charge for a while, that does seem a little weird to me.
That is a little odd. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, when you buy something big, like I mean, anytime, even on a personal level, when you buy something big for the year, you expect that your revenue stream is going to go down for a little bit before it comes back up because well, you bought something big.
Yeah, you got those car payments, sucker.
Right. Like today, we bought an extra server box, so we're taking a couple $100 hit for the month because we bought a new server box. Not going to complain when we look at the bank statement at the end of the month and go,
Right.
hey, why is there a
Right.
couple $100 missing?
I don't know. It's just, it's odd to me. It's just odd that somebody stepping in, even in an interim capacity, Jason, is from one of your brand new acquisitions, not somebody you acquired 3 years ago and they've really impressed you or anything. Just a mere months ago, they've impressed you to the point that now they're in charge.
Well, I mean, they wanted someone with that kind of CEO kind of experience, I guess. So that makes sense. What is it going to be? The guy who works in the mailroom at EG7? Probably not. So.
I have to believe, though, that there are experienced people at EG7 at a high corporate executive level that have experience that, I don't know.
Like maybe the guy right underneath him?
Yeah, right?
That's
Maybe we could get Albert Wesker in here. And
maybe they can get Ebba.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
or even better.
Well, and I do understand that they mean to fill this position too.
Sure. It says acting CEO.
Right, but a lot of times the acting ends up becoming too. So we'll see.
If the Amazon thing doesn't work out, what's Smedley going to do?
Ooh.
Smedley's project over there is still like really hush hush. I'm surprised that we haven't caught a whiff of what Smedley's working on there because it's been years.
I don't know that I care.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
also, I'm looking at this Fred West guy, and he was pretty unpleasant.
Man, we're doing a show. Will you stop wikiing shit? Particularly stuff that isn't related to gaming. But since we're going to talk about our European friends, hi Mad Martha, and many others watching at home and the millions around the world, your gaming rating system, PEGI, the Pan-European Rating Board, has made a change. And actually, they made this change a while ago. People are just now noticing. This actually went into effect last year in 2020, but really only hit people's attention until this week.
So many things got shifted over.
Right. Andy Robinson at Ask About Games was reviewing the rating for an interactive story game called Overboard. Okay. Now, Overboard's like a reverse murder mystery, whatever. The game features mild violence, suggestively sexual themes, and depiction of alcohol use. All right, stuff that's going to get you a mature rating, right? But a scene where you can play blackjack with another character caused the PEGI ratings board to give the PEGI 18 rating to the game. And so Andy noticed that this was in the notes, contacted PEGI spokesperson, and they clarified that they do have a new policy as of 2022 or 2020 that only impacts new games, and it's not going to be applied to previously released games or re-released games that already have a rating. So if it came out and they HD remaster it, unless there's substantial changes to the point that PEGI considers it a new game, it's still going to get the previous rating it had, just to not cause confusion with multiple products for multiple consoles on shelves with different ratings. But there is now a portion of the PEGI rating that if gambling is in your game, just like if murder is in your game, it will automatically land it a PEGI 18 rating, the equivalent of the mature rating in the United States from the ESRB. Interesting. So now we
So-
have a situation, Yod, where you can virtually play blackjack with an NPC for no risk, no reward besides whatever currency is in the game that you are using to buy stuff in the game, netting you a 18 rating or a mature rating. But FIFA, with all of its ultimate team packs and random cash purchases and stuff, no, that's totally fine because loot boxes aren't technically gambling yet.
Technically, even though you are. But so just to clarify, like Final Fantasy VII Remake would be a new game that would require a new rating. But
I
the
would
Pixel
I would
remasters
read it
not.
that way. Yeah, I would. I think that would be a safe interpretation.
Okay. Just so everybody's clear on that.
Here's where I'm a little iffy on this. I think that the PEGI spokesperson that Andy Robinson quotes there might be a little off.
Oh.
Because I'm on the PEGI site. And under PEGI 12, it says gambling as it is normally carried out in real life in casinos or gambling halls can be present, e.g., card games that in real life will be played for money. That's under their PEGI 12 guidelines. If this went into effect over a year ago or about a year ago, why haven't they updated that yet?
Good question.
I'm a little iffy as to whether
That
that
is
person knew what
suspicious.
they were talking about, frankly.
So maybe we have a spokesperson not being quite up to date on the policy.
Right.
The spokesperson up to date or their website and their guidelines that they maybe, I don't know what else they have in terms of like printed guidelines that they actually use when doing this sort of thing. Either
Right.
that stuff's not up to date.
I mean,
Is there any kind of what we should do is find out if there's any games that have come out since 2020 that have gambling and what their rating is.
right. Gambling
Uh,
without the murder and sexual themes.
Sure. Well, even we even had that if they're below PEGI 18. Was there any gambling in Bless Unleashed?
So here's an article from Nintendo Life where they speculated that applying the same logic to Pokemon, and apparently they have an update. Their update is a representative from PEGI has now provided further clarification on the updated rules regarding gambling in games, explaining that older titles will only be upgraded to 18 plus if they were re-released with changes technically making it a new game. You can find the full explanation underneath our original story below. Yeah, and even this update to this story, right, is just them saying, hey, if it's a re-release, we're not going to touch old stuff. So nobody from PEGI with this story going wild on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And PEGI having many, many more opportunities to correct something. Nobody has an update where that is corrected. They just want to be clear that if something is re-released, it's going to retain its old age rating, provided it has not, in their words, upgraded, modernized, reinterpreted, or reshuffled a version of an older game. It must be identical in content, otherwise it must be treated as a new game, at which point the current criteria apply. Historical ratings are maintained as long as the game is put on the market again in the same form. When we implemented the criterion change in the first part of 2020, we made the conscious decision not to apply the change retroactively. We wanted to avoid that the exact same game could be found in a shop for two different consoles with two different age ratings. So nobody has taken an opportunity to say it's not the case. So maybe it is just a site isn't updated, Jason.
It might be because I'm looking through their some of the PEGI ratings. Lost Judgment does have an 18. It's got violence, bad language, and gambling. I don't know exactly how much violence it is. If it's enough to get 18 on itself, and now the website's not working.
And now the website's broken.
So I don't know. I guess we'll know when we're going to talk about this in a little while. I guess we'll know when Horizon comes out next year.
Yeah,
We'll
definitely know.
Yeah, there's that. Is there a way, is there a date on the site on when it was last updated,
That
or
game,
no?
not the site itself. No, the
Okay.
game I was talking about did come out in 21 though.
Right.
I'm just kind of scrolling through our list now to see if I can find something that has gambling and isn't an 18 game, but
Right.
there are very few that actually have gambling, so I don't know.
Yeah, I got the
That's- I
PEGI.
mean,
I got the PEGI.info site up, and that has its copyright still of 2017, but no update date.
Yeah. So I mean, it's highly possible a lot of these government type, regulation things. Their websites are lasting to get updated, and
You think of it been a whole year.
Yeah, the gambling
It-
description says the game contains elements that encourage or teach gambling. These simulations of gambling refer to games of chance that are normally carried out in casinos or gambling halls. Games with this sort of content are PEGI 12, PEGI 16, or PEGI 18. So, we'll see. We'll see how it plays
I'm
out.
guessing they paid someone to make their site, and then it's not someone on staff, so
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
keep it updated.
Mad Martha. Though, speaking from personal experience, I've never actually seen a PEGI rating actually enforced in a store. Yeah, good call.
There you
I
go.
remember getting carded for games that were rated M. I
Do you
remember those
really?
days.
I
Yeah.
never
Really?
got carded
Hmm.
for a game.
Yeah, me neither.
And I bought some M's before I was 18. I mean, when I bought my PlayStation 1, I went home with Resident Evil, and I was 14 or 15-ish.
It was only like once, I think. I think for Metal Gear Solid was when I got
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
All right,
I feel
so
old.
let's do a little bit of a review, gentlemen. I'm going to show a little bit of footage for this, courtesy of MMOBomb.com. If you're not following Jason and I over on MMOBomb, we would very much appreciate it. That's the one that actually pays the bills for us, right? So we would appreciate if you would sign up. The entire site has been revamped, very modernized. Create an account, pick your favorite games on the site, and it will recommend games for you based on that. I mean, there is a ton of cool stuff that MMO Bomb now has on the site for you. So please go ahead, sign up for an account. It's free, giveaways, all that jazz. But I put up a first look video on there since now we do not cover just free to play. We are the home for all things multiplayer on MMOBomb.com. So that means we'll cover Final Fantasy XIV, we'll cover co-op shooters, like all that type of stuff, and we'll let you know our thoughts. So I did the first look review this week for Aliens Fireteam Elite. This is that 3-person co-op PvE game the three of us were looking at as a potential, because the three of us want to do a stream where we do something together. And every single game we have talked about doing this has just ended up being utter cack.
Or delayed.
Yeah, or delayed. Yeah, I mean,
Or both.
Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, I played it and I was like, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. In fact, I got a couple free keys after that from them because I got one for review. It was after I'd already bought it anyway, but, whatever. So I had like 3 keys and I was like, does anybody? And they were like, no, that's fine. You can keep them.
You sent one to me. I
did send one to you. Jason was
I
like,
haven't
no.
I think you said, maybe did you actually send it?
No, I think I gave it to my son instead because you didn't want
Yeah,
it.
maybe. It might have been.
And my son played one level and was like, nope, I'm done. Anyway, Aliens Fireteam Elite, taking place in the Alien timeline about 23 years after the events of Alien 3, so before Resurrection, but after Sigourney Weaver has dumped herself into a fiery cauldron with a lovely queen alien bursting out of here, but she has not yet been cloned. We get a story.
I can't even keep track of all that shit.
What's that?
That was like 25 years ago. I can't even keep track of that. When she
I
had the
remember it
alien, but she
all.
died in the lava before she was cloned.
Dude, I'm a huge cinephile. Huge cinephile. Someday we'll do a stream where I show the Blu-ray collection. So yeah, it's a Left 4 Dead-ish game, a horde mode co-op shooter, which I'm okay with those modes of games. They're not my favorite, but they're, I'll play them before I play a MOBA, that's for sure. And we were kind of looking forward to this, but we all had the same concern. We all said the same thing, Jason. This could be fun, but is the replayability sticky factor going to be there? Or is it going to be something that you blow through the levels and then you really just don't want to do them anymore? Because
by now you should know that me saying this could be fun means I don't absolutely hate this when I first look at it, but I'm probably not interested.
that's
You
fair
should know
enough.
that.
That's fair enough. But that was our main concern, all three of us, was this game needs to be sticky. Just like when you play Warframe or you play Path of Exile or you play Phantasy Star Online 2, when you play Left 4 Dead, you are going to do the same things over and over and over ad nauseum. is it compelling and fun enough that you want to do that? You don't mind doing that to get that better gear or to get this upgrade for your pulse rifle or anything like that. And I'm here to say $40 is too much for this game. My opinion. I did the first look. I've played through the entire campaign. I've done a bunch of endgame stuff at the higher difficulties. I've played with the Horde mode. I've played all 5 classes. You only get 4 at the open, but once you beat the game, you'll have the recon available to you. 4 acts, 3 levels per act for a total of 12 levels. Now, granted, in DLCs, I'm sure they're going to add new levels and things like that. I gave a full review of this on MMO Bomb's podcast. Used to be the free-to-play cast, now called Always Online. Hit it up. It's on the website right now. We just did it yesterday, so mmobomb.com, Always Online. Go give it a like. Feed that algorithm for me. So I'll keep it a little more brief here, and I'll let you gentlemen chime in. $40 I think is too much for this, and that's coming from an Aliens fan. I don't feel bad that I bought it, but I don't feel great that I bought it either. It is very quick if you're going to play through the story. And the story is nothing special. Guess what? Weyland-Yutani had a secret lab. They were experimenting with the goo that the engineers had, trying to make super soldiers. Shit went downhill. Send in the Marines.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's the story. The game is fun. It does lose a little bit of that being scared of the alien because this is more aliens than alien.
Right.
So if you want that tension and suspense, go play Alien Isolation. If you want the more aliens, the sequel, send in the Colonial Marines who already know about these things and are ready to take them on, and so they're not surprised by them anymore. This is more that. I don't know. I'm hopeful with some... They have earned 1 DLC purchase from me to see where they're taking things. Because honestly, although the game thematically looks good, it's not top-tier graphics. That's not what I'm saying. But it looks like the Hives. It looks like the Engineer's Ruins. It looks like the ships that you would expect in the Aliens. It looks great from that aspect, cosmetically, not graphic fidelity-wise.
So at least it looks like what it's supposed to.
Yeah, the environments,
they
but the environments don't change. It's not.
Right.
It's not like a procedurally generated deal. The waves of monsters are to a certain extent, depending on other factors, but the missions themselves are always they're the same path through the same tunnels to a wide open room, to a horde sweep, to some more tunnels where you get ambushed. There's upgrading weapons and stuff as you go and leveling up, so there is that sense of progression. I feel like this would have been great at $20 to $25. I would have felt great buying it for that, and then bought some DLC too. It was over very quickly, and it's just not compelling enough for me to play. When DLC comes out, I'll give it another look, but it's not something I'm going to spend a few weekends playing with you guys. Jason, I know you chimed in on Always Online, so we'll hold on you for a second, give it to Yad.
Now, did you play with just bots or with other people?
So it's always 3 people in your group.
Right.
If you queue for a mission and it doesn't find people, it's going to give you 2 bots. Or you could go private and just force it to give you 2 bots.
Right.
So I played some like that.
What did you do?
I played some like that where it was just bots.
Okay.
They're fine for getting through the story the first time on standard difficulty so that you can unlock intense and extreme and all the other difficulties and all the endgame stuff. They're not going to hold their weight in any difficulty mode above standard. To be fair, if you mouse over...
You can't go in hard to start with. You have to start normal.
You could do easy. I think there's 3 open. Standard, easy, and something else.
Right.
And the bots will get you through all of those. Just do standard. It's fine. You'll be fine. I mean, unless you're really bad at shooters, like worse than me, standard, you'll be fine. If it finds 1 person in the matchmaking, then it will put a 3rd bot in there. The bots will not do anything over standard. You can, but they're not going to be good at it. But to be fair, mousing over those difficulties, it says not recommended for AI bot play, but it will let you do it. Then I did some random queuing with 3s. I didn't queue with like specific people. I just let the matchmaking system find it. Quick play needs to be added stat. Stat. It is so dumb that there are 12 missions in this game. And when you go to matchmaking, not only are you hoping, A, there's other people playing in a game that is not cross-platform play, So you need people playing on your platform,
Right.
but they also need to queue up for the exact mission out of the 12 that you queued up for, because there is no just quick play and it randomly grabs 3 people and throws them into a random mission. You have to pick the one of the 12 missions you want to play.
Yeah, that's a little too many steps there.
NPC lips don't move. Everything
What?
is fully voiced, and the NPC lips don't move. I'm not talking that they have lip flap and it doesn't make sense. They don't move at all for fully voiced work. Every NPC you can talk to.
Everyone is a ventriloquist.
Yeah,
so what's the big
every
deal?
single one, Jason.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all ventriloquists.
Wow.
It's
Okay,
distracting as
so
hell.
I've heard mixed reviews about the game. Obviously, you've got a mixed viewpoint on it too.
Yeah, I do. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's overpriced right now.
I've also heard that there were some people running into some some bugs.
Say it.
Don't.
Yeah,
But
it's a little buggy as shit, and depending on what platform, it may be better or worse
Right.
for you.
So I'm wondering, because I'm still running on a stock PlayStation 4 Gen 1. So I'm wondering how it will run on the dang thing.
If you watch the first look video on MMO Bomb that I'm showing right now, there is a sequence where I talk about bugs, and I was in the final campaign mission, deep in the hive. By the way, Jason hated this. Missions are anywhere from like 12 to 20 minutes long. They are not short. And there is no Left 4 Dead checkpoint type thing.
Really?
If you die 90% into the level, you are starting again. You are starting the entire thing over again.
Oof.
I get 80% of the way deep into the hive, going after the queen. We're going to blow the whole thing up type deal. One of my human teammates somehow glitches through a door that isn't, not only is this not where we're supposed to go as far as the objective, but the door isn't even supposed to open. But he gets stuck on the other side of it, and we can't get him back. And it's all in the first look video you're watching. Go check it out. He ends up leaving the group. My other partner then leaves the group. It spawns 2 bots in their place, and it resets the room because now everybody's in the room, and our objective shows up, and we're allowed to go through the objective door, which wasn't opening because it wasn't recognizing that all 3 players were in place and had completed the objective because our dude was tied behind the other side of the door. I had to finish that with 2 bot components, companions. Thank you.
Right.
And the last mode the last fight was pretty challenging. It's like a multiple wave, open area, gotta move. You know, there is no cover. I was going to be really pissed if I died. I didn't. We beat it. I beat it. But yeah, it is buggy. Sometimes people or monsters get under the floor or they get above the ceiling and you can't target them. And it just sits there and will not move the objective. Luckily on PC, I personally didn't have a ton of problems besides the odd, like the 3 examples I just gave. But some are having it a lot worse.
Right. Like I said, if I were to get it, I'd be playing on a Gen 1 stock PS4.
Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Jason, final thoughts, and we'll move on.
Final thoughts is I just don't believe you anymore when it comes to being hyped about games.
Hey, CD Projekt Red guys. Yeah, they've actually hired a bunch of people from the modding scene to actually work on official mod support and bug squashing. And
that's pretty smart.
In one respect, I think that's pretty cool. In another respect, I'm like, wait a minute. What kind of position were you in that this is the best option? Like, wait a minute, Jason. Wait a minute.
You know how we say, like, why don't you just, your game's so broken, why don't you just get the fans to fix it? They point at everything, and they actually are doing that now.
Yeah.
And
this is doing it.
That's good for those guys, I guess, but man,
it's cool for them. Yeah, it's absolutely cool for the team.
Well, it's cool until they get into those 90-hour work weeks. Then it's less cool. The 90-hour work weeks every week for 6 months, but yeah.
When your hobby becomes your job.
Right. What were you guys doing for the 8 years before that you now need to bring these guys on?
Speaking of decisions, we talked last show about China potentially putting more restrictions on video game time. They actually went and did it, Yad. New rules took effect that restrict young players to just 3 hours of gaming per week between 8 and 9 p.m. on Fridays, weekends, and holidays. And it's up to the companies behind the games to enforce those regulations. So I'm sure Tencent is absolutely thrilled.
Right. So the 3 hours per week thing actually was passed a while back.
But it hasn't been enforced. It hasn't been enforced.
Right. It also wasn't set when those hours were.
Right.
Now they've set when the hours are, and it's asinine. I mean, completely and totally asinine. The fact that it's 8 to 9 p.m., Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on holidays. I mean, what the heck? Yep. Although it is also only online games. So I guess they can play Mario all they want.
This has got to be like impossible to enforce.
It is, but
even in a communist country where things are being monitored out the ass, not like they're not being monitored here in a democratic country either.
Right.
But even in that environment, Jason, how do you possibly expect Tencent to be able to enforce it beyond putting a screen up that says, we need you to acknowledge that you are over 18 before you can play this?
Don't they have IDs, like government IDs they need to access things?
I don't know. I know you need like Korean social security numbers for certain online Korean games, but I don't know what it's like in China.
I think they are like that, and because they were talking about people getting around the previous rule by using adult IDs. So I think there's a little something to that. So if that's the case, if they can track them via that, then that makes things at least a little easier for the Tencents of the world and so forth.
Yeah, Mad Martha is exactly right in chat. This is there's a lot of racist, xenophobic rhetoric behind this law. It's not just we don't want kids playing games. They've used some very, very strong language of people from the Nationalistic Party, supporters of the National Party, and things like that. Basically worried that gaming's is turning. I can't even like find euphemisms in my head quickly to describe the words that they have used. But they are worried about the losing of masculinity for their teenage boys. I guess that's the nicest way I can say that, Jason.
Here's what I'm reading here. It says, to do so, to follow these rules, China has already been requiring game companies to implement real name identification systems. This forces consumers who sign into a game to first provide a mobile phone number, state-issued ID, or even undergo a facial scan. As a result, game companies should theoretically know the ages of all their customers and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and this is just a part of a larger move to limit star potential and celebrity and pop culture. So Mad Martha is exactly right. This is to limit from Western culture, but not just Western culture. Just limit everything.
This is just the tip of the iceberg on the whole thing, and it's disgusting.
It really is.
Plain out disgusting. Really and the only thing I can think of is because they're hoisting this responsibility onto the companies, so the government itself doesn't have to watch the people. They just have to watch the companies watch the people.
Yeah.
Which is also disgusting.
Justin being a little more explicit, but that's exactly what I was just alluding to, that they don't want certain celebrities and popular streamers and stuff like that don't fit the mold. It is a very Nazi Germany, ideal Aryan person type mentality. This is the ideal Chinese male, and all of these factors would influence them away from being that, so let's cut those. It's that mentality.
I mean, to delve a little bit away, I don't mean to delve away from video games and all that, but the mentality of the Chinese male is so weird because they want them to be strong and masculine and all this, but also very attractive. Because apparently, according to the Chinese people, and I use quotations in this for those people who are on the audio only for the show.
Yeah, for those who
'Cause
are on the audio, keep in mind Yacht is.
yeah, I am a
Exactly.
Chinese person. I'm
Yeah,
American born, but I'm Chinese.
yeah.
But their ideal is that you have to be masculine, but you also have to be pretty. So in their eye, the star of Shang-Chi from Marvel that just came out, Samai Liu, he's not pretty enough to be a lead actor to them. How this man is not pretty enough for them to be a lead actor, I don't know. Because I mean, as a heterosexual male, he's a damn pretty dude.
He is like over the age of 25, isn't he? So that probably disqualifies him.
Maybe, but I don't know. But I mean, he's a handsome man. He's built like a shit brick house. I don't know what their problem is with him being a lead man because he fits perfectly. But that's their mentality is he's not pretty enough.
The only reason I bring this up in depth, the way we're kind of talking about Jason, is I think in the gaming community in particular, and for podcasts like this and news sites, it is a catchy headline.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very easy to go, crazy China doesn't want their kids playing video games, and that is just a small piece of this whole pie. That is a lot more nefarious and than you might think, based on the Kotaku headline, right?
We could spend hours just on this thing.
We're not. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Because we're just about done. Pete Hines wants you all to know that you will be able to play Bethesda games on PlayStation. Well, I mean, as long as the games already exist and you already own them. In the future, I don't know. Man.
Or there's Skyrim.
And the way I put this in the notes for Jason to talk about it was was a link and the words dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, because there was no singular question Pete Hines actually answered on this topic.
First of all, that is kind of classic Pete Hines.
Absolutely.
But also, I don't know. Everyone's just got their. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't care because I have a PC or whatever. But what do you expect? They're owned by They're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Stop expecting him to say something other than we can only play on Microsoft.
Well, but he also, it is interesting though that he didn't just say that, but that makes sense to me too. Like, why would you limit your options right now? You don't need to yet. Those are all decisions you can make over time. Do we think it's going to be more beneficial in the long run to put Elder Scrolls 6 on just Xbox and PC, or do we think that's a title that, hey, let's put it on the PlayStation because we're going to make a shit ton of money too? Where this Bethesda title, you know what? Let's make that one an Xbox. I could see them doing a title-by-title thing too. Granted, I could also see them, to Jason, your point, just saying, it's our company. Yeah, they're going to be Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, I lean more in the duh, but I'm not going to tell you that now because I'll delay it until later when people get angry later.
I'll tell you when I have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Lost Ark delayed until 2022. You can take place in a beta. We kind of all believe that is to keep New World from being cannibalized, since that's coming out later this year as well. Yeah. What the hell's going on with PlayerUnknown?
So he's left Crafton, left the company. He's left the company that makes PlayerUnknown Battleground, or PUBG Battleground, whatever you want to call it. And he's formed his own little company called PlayerUnknown Productions. And he's going to make a game, but first he's going to make a tech demo for his game.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a logical play.
Sure. But why does a game need a tech demo? What's so special about it? Well, let me tell you what's so special about it.
It's going to be huge.
Huge. It's going to be huge. He posted a video on Twitter about 5 minutes long, so you can watch it there. It doesn't take long. And he goes into everything he loves about sandbox-style open world games and so on and so forth. And he says, but he wishes they were a bit bigger, just a bit. He says that. So what he's making, or what he wants to make, is a world that is, quote, hundreds of kilometers across with thousands of players interacting, exploring, and creating. So, yeah, huge is what his ambition.
Huge.
So
They're going to
he
use like
wants to
machine
make
learning and neural
Minecraft.
net. Well, hopefully looking a little better than that. Yeah. But yeah, he plans to use like machine learning and a neural network to generate massive realistic open worlds at runtime. And Prologue, which is something we heard a little bit about a couple of years ago, is going to be a tech demo, which is intended to serve as a simple introduction to an early iteration of our technology. So it'll just be like a generated wilderness, procedurally generated wilderness that you try to go through, get from point A to point B, but that's going to be like all of it. It's just a test to see if this kind of thing can work at all.
Yod, when I tweeted it from MMO Bomb's account when we covered the as news this week, I said, "Stop me if you've heard this one before. Well-known developer leaves job to start a new project focusing on the biggest virtual open worlds imaginable. Can Player Unknown actually pull it off, though?"
I think I've seen this movie before.
Yeah,
I thought it was
Mad
called
Martha
Matrix.
already gave the most obvious name. It is the Dean Hall route. Yeah, it is
No,
absolutely.
PUBG was finished.
Yeah. Oof.
PUBG launched.
Oof.
Uh,
YouTube also
Oh.
making moves, Yod, kind of hitting Twitch. Twitch apparently did suffer a bit of a viewership drop over the whole, silent don't stream Wednesday this past week. Estimates show anywhere from 5 to 15% of a hit. So we'll see if anything changes on that front. I would think that's probably not big enough to do the trick.
No.
But
No.
we'll see.
10% over one day is not going to
Yeah.
make anybody
Yeah.
care.
But YouTube making some moves, picking up Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo as YouTube streaming exclusives. Now, I know I never really streamed to YouTube all that much. I think I did like once or twice just in some multi-stream experimentation to make sure my equipment could do it. Maybe it is something I will start doing a little bit more of. I know, Yod, you do quite a bit more from what I gather of your stream and live stuff watching on YouTube than you do
yeah.
Twitch, or like 50-50-ish there.
Yeah, I watch live stuff a lot more on YouTube. YouTube seems to be a bit more on the direct payment. I mean, I'm not sure how Twitch actually works with the making money part, other than, people will buy subscriptions or whatever, and you get a portion of it, I guess. But on YouTube, you can do what they call super chats, where you can do anything from $1 to $1,000+ for a super chat, and then put whatever you want on it. Most people will read off the super chat on their stream of what the people are saying because they paid money for it, and respond to them. It's just a way of I guess paying more attention to the chat, making it a little more interactive. So it's an idea, and I mean, when we first started this, I had approached you if you were
Yeah.
gonna do streaming on YouTube or on Twitch or whatever, or if we were gonna do it both. So I mean,
I think we'll Ready Check. I mean, we'll probably experiment with doing both for a little bit. Obviously, we're not getting these multi-million-dollar deals, Jason.
Right.
We don't know how much,
Why
by the
not?
way, these deals are. However, Tim the Tatman does say this will let me spend more time with his family, which I am sure it will. And we don't know Dr. Lupo's contract amount, but we do know that his previous Twitch deal was worth millions of dollars per year. So I gotta believe you ain't going over to YouTube unless you making more than those millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
Give me a few more millions. My problem with YouTube is, and I have problems with Twitch too, don't get me wrong, but my problem with YouTube live streaming is there's some limitations to it on the content creators side. They're not necessarily limitations for you to watch or interact or anything like that. But if you've never done it, there are limitations and features that just aren't available. Obviously, we're talking about, Jason, Twitch has 70-some-odd% of the viewership for streamed content. YouTube in second place at like 15%. So it's understandable that maybe Google hasn't funneled the money into future enhancements yet. But these contracts, maybe, and they already picked up Dr. Disrespect over that whole thing. So they are pulling and willing to pay for big names. Are we going to start seeing some YouTube gaming stuff changing and it become, maybe try to, now's the time to compete?
If so, it's not going to be sudden. I mean, this is the big headline of this week, but
Right.
as you said, if they had 70%, they now have maybe 69.5%. If these two guys are worth even that much, because
right.
I'm always amazed when I look at like a game and I'll just pick some random game. I'm like, okay, let me look at who's streaming that. 15,000 viewers on this guy, 12,000 on this one. 8,500 on this person. I don't even know who these people are. But it's like, yeah, those guys are still doing all right. They're still making. There's enough other people out there who are big enough and making enough money that, yeah, they didn't want to. Twitch didn't want to lose these two, or not disrespect, or Ninja when he left and came back or whatever. But they're okay with it. I think. I don't think it's gonna. It's not gonna. It doesn't represent some sort of global change in how they're gonna handle things.
Oh yeah.
All right, we got two last things, then we go to the game of the week. Both things that I know each of you wanted to talk about independently. Jason, you got 2 minutes or less. What the hell? Why did you link me this Horizon stuff?
What? Mike giving me the whatever.
This is your board game stuff.
What? I didn't link this. Oh, the board game thing. Oh,
Yeah. I have the PS5.
Okay.
By the way, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot I put that first link in there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that one is Horizon Forbidden West's PS5 upgrade is basically a scam. You have to get the digital deluxe version to be able to upgrade. The other regular versions and digital versions don't include it. It's a huge pain in the ass. It makes what they said before that you will be able to do this look like they were being coy, if not outright lying. It sucks. I hope they're going to change it, but they probably won't. You have a board game thing in there that I don't understand. That's the one you wanted to talk about.
Basically, Horizon Forbidden West is going to get Gwent. Sort of.
Oh, so PEGI 18.
Yeah, that's the question. Will it be? Although it's not. I mean, is a CCG gambling? Does Gwent count? Because I mean, I guess you can get like money, quote unquote, but it's not poker. It's not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's not
Magic the
representative
Gathering.
of real world gambling.
I don't know.
It
I
doesn't.
don't know. Anyway,
It doesn't.
Anyway, so Horizon Forbidden West is going to have a game in the game called Horizon Forbidden West Strike. It's a board game. It's going to have pieces. It's called a, quote, board game played by inhabitants of the world of Horizon with a wooden and metal pieces fashioned in the shape of machines. And Aloy can challenge many different NPCs to a match as she explores the world. And I'm just like, it's like post-apocalyptic where people are scrabbling by and trying to fight deadly machines. How many of them are gathering their hero clicks or whatever the hell? It's like, really? That's what I can get it in Gwent. People are kind of settled. It's a decent little society. People may have time to play a little card game or whatever. But this is weird.
You know what it brings to mind instantly, right? I mean, obviously, please tell me somebody, I'm not the only one, that when it's just like, yeah, almost everybody in the world plays this game. You could, whatever you're doing something, you could walk up and ask somebody if they want to play this game and go ahead and play them and collect all the pieces. This is all I think of. This is all I think of.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have toilets in Horizon.
But you can play this game.
And Aloy's definitely not using those.
That's true. All right, Yod, last thing on the show, we'll do games of the week. You wanted to give an update on Witcher on Netflix.
Right. So we have the Witcher, the Night of the Wolf, where they do the animated movie of Geralt's teacher or master. And I finally got a chance to watch it. What the heck is showing up on? Okay. Sorry. My Twitch app is a little late on stuff. And
Were you just getting the urinals now?
yes, I'm just getting
Okay,
the
all
urinals
right.
now.
That's what he thinks of your cartoon.
Yes. But anyways, I finally got a chance to watch it. I thought they did a really good job. It kind of brings you a little background on Geralt's teacher, gives you a little background on how he got from where he is to where Geralt becomes, a Witcher. And the animation was really well done. I thought the storytelling was really well done. And I don't know. I'd say if you haven't seen it, go watch it. That's about it.
All right. Well, while we toss a coin to our Witcher, let's head over to our games of the week. This is the segment at the end of the show where each of the three of us is going to recommend a game for you this week. Could be something we're playing now, played many years ago, haven't played yet, but think maybe you should take a look at it if you like certain things. And it's your job in the comments on ReadyCheckRadio.com or on YouTube to let us know who gave the best recommendation. This week, we'll go first to Yad.
So I gotta go with my classic Destiny 2 because they released a new season.
You got an
And
expansion coming up, too, early next
you
year.
got expansion coming up after the season, and the season leads up to the expansion, and the story they've got going on is rather gripping, and you're going, what the hell is going on? Because it's, rather intense. So go play some Destiny 2.
Jason.
Wasn't Destiny 2 your game of the week like last time?
He gives it.
No.
It's either Mass Effect or Destiny 2.
It is not.
That's
At
all
least
he
I
plays.
try to do something different every week.
That's all he plays. It's Mass Effect. I haven't done that in 2
Destiny 2,
weeks.
Mass
Destiny
Effect,
2 this
Destiny.
week.
Okay. I'm going to give it to Road 96. That is something I'm interested in and got on my wish list on Steam. It's a game that just came out a few weeks ago. The description is, hitchhike your way to freedom in this crazy procedurally generated road trip. No one's road is the same. So it looks really just interesting from the standpoint of being like various encounters you have at more or less random as you're hitchhiking, going on this road trip or whatever. It's set in like a kind of dystopian 1996 America, because like talked about the regime and so forth. I guess there's an election going on too or something. So interesting set of circumstances and presentation, and maybe even good gameplay too. Looks kind of cool.
I'm going to give mine to a game. I know this is a little older and I might be a little late to the party, and that's fine. But I love rhythm games, obviously. So I've done DJ Max and on stream, and I think I've recommended it a week or so in like when we first started the show. DJ Max and Dance Dance Revolution and like any rhythm game I am all down for. Well, I was looking for one to play, and years ago when it came out, I was just kind of like, this is a little too weird. I don't think I'm down for it. But I did pick up in the last few weeks Bullets Per Minute, or BPM, which is a first-person shooter rhythm game. And at the time, we knew it was coming out, and like I was just like, that's too gimmicky. There's no way that's going to be good. And it was on sale for a couple bucks less than normal, so I went ahead and grabbed it. I wanted some rhythm, but I didn't feel like playing DJ Max. It is a blast. It is very well done. It is a little more on like the hard rock side of music. So I'm not a huge hard rock fan, but I'm okay with it, so it's all right. If you really hate that genre of music, this is not for you, because that's all it is musically. Various music, and it's good, but if you don't like that genre, it is very creative. You have to fire, reload, and jump to the beat of whatever songs you are doing while exploring procedurally generated levels. It is an absolute blast. It is super challenging, though, particularly just starting out. So BPM, that's going to be my recommendation for Games of the Week. Let us know who gave the best recommendation in the comments on YouTube or on Ready Check Radio. We'll be back, of course, next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern with another episode of Gaming Gumbo. Don't forget, in the meantime, we've got the Relic Grind on 7 at Thursdays, and then multiple streamers, including myself, all throughout the week, including one coming up right after this show. So stay tuned if you're live with us in chat. What's up, Torchwick?
Not much. What about you?
I actually brought you down to check out Bullets Per Minute. What did you think?
It seemed really cool, but also not my type of thing.
Yeah,
I
you're not
love
really
the
big
idea
on
behind
rhythm.
those games, that like gimmicky games like that, but then I'll play it for 2 or 3 days and just forget and never touch it again.
That's fair
So-
enough. What are you streaming today? Are we continuing Vagrant Story? Are you done with that yet?
No, we're finally getting back to Vagrant Story after taking a bit of a break from streaming in general. I'm having fun with it, and I really want to beat it, so we're gonna keep going until either I just can't beat it or I do.
Seems fair. Stay here live. We'll go dark for about 5 seconds while I relabel everything, and then Torchwick, you'll be live. We'll be back next week. Until then, Yod, where can everybody find you, my friend?
Yada Artworks on Twitter, Yada Artworks on Facebook, and right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Jason.
So just a moment here. As you were going through your final spiel, I was looking over Twitter, and the headline came up: Sony to offer free Horizon Forbidden West PS4 to PS5 upgrade after criticism.
Yeah, they
Hey.
did the
They're
right
backtracking on that.
thing. Nice.
So there you go.
Nice.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll get tweets every time we go live with a podcast to stream. And you can come and hang out and have a great time. Until next time, stay safe. See you on the server.